Slump. Tries to get a touch. Guinness. Shot. Goal range. Rapinoe in the edge of the area.
On a terrific day for soccer in the Northwest, it is a rematch of the last two National Women's Soccer League championship games. The Seattle Reign taking on FC Kansas City at Memorial Stadium. Sun-drenched Seattle, breezy though, may have a bit of an impact on the match today. It is great to have you with us on this first day of May with Leslie Gallimore, head coach at the University of Washington. I'm Tom Glasgow. Well, on paper, it's a rematch of last year's championship, but in reality, so many new faces, the Reign dealing with injuries. For FC Kansas City, it's pregnancies and retirements that have really shaken up the roster.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different game, and you look at even just the records, 1-1 for Seattle, 0-1 for FC Kansas City. Early in the season, both these coaches will get their clubs going, so this is an important matchup, and at home for the Reign, you want to hope that they can get the 3 points out of it.
Well, if you're wondering about revenge, with Kansas City winning both of those championship matchups, from a Seattle perspective, they say, new year, different deal for head coach Laura Harvey. She's really more concerned about putting on a better performance for the home fans after a home season opening loss to Sky Blue. The injury situation for Seattle significant. Megan Rapinoe likely out for the season. Jess Fishlock, outstanding midfielder, suffering a broken leg, out 4 to 6 weeks. That injury occurring last week. So Ellie Reed goes into the starting lineup. But last week, it was Rachel Corsi who went into the starting lineup and really did a terrific job getting a goal. It'll be fun to see what she continues to bring.
Yeah, Rachel, the Scottish international, play at the back. And the key for the Reign, since they were home, they obviously went and got the result on the road, but last time they played here, is just their ability to build out of the back, have a better tempo, better ball possession, and just play a little bit more Reign soccer. Just everything at a little bit higher quality is what's going to make the difference for them today. And Rachel certainly is a big part of that on both sides of the ball.
In those championship matches won by Kansas City, all three of their goals combined were scored by Amy Rodriguez. Well, she's no longer in play, but Heather O'Reilly is an outstanding world-class midfielder.
Yeah, you can never count Heyo out, and she's had quite a year. You know, after the World Cup last summer, out of a camp for the U.S. team for the Olympics, back into camp trying to make the Olympic team, and she's just a warrior. You know, she's a bulldog when she plays. She gets this fierce look on her face when she's running up and down the field. She's tough to keep track of. She serves great balls in, and she'll just go for 90 minutes for you. So you got to keep Heyo under wraps, or they could give you some trouble.
Well, this may not be a championship matchup, but we believe we'll have championship intensity between Seattle and Kansas City.
National team in 2006.
And you see the starting lineups for today's match. You see Kansas City and the Seattle Reign. And Leslie, let's talk about some of the key players for both squads. Let's start first of all for the visiting squad from Kansas City. They've got a change up at the top with Shea Groom out due to a pair of yellows last week, red carded out of that Portland game. So Caroline Castor steps in to replace her.
Yeah, Caroline Castor, a local product out of the University of Kansas, a Kansas native. You know, Coach Antonovsky likes her. She's a little energizer bunny. She'll get around up there and she'll make it tough for the back line for Seattle. I'm disappointed personally not to be able to see Shea Groom play. I've spent quite a bit of time with her in the under-23 national team camp. I'm a fan. She plays the 9 really well, and I think Caroline is a similar type player according to Coach Antonovsky, so we'll see what she can do today, and Shea's been dangerous on goal.
And defensively, one of the all-time great defenders for the U.S. national team, and Becky Sauerbrunn, and if not for Hope Solo, Nicole Barnhart may have seen a lot of action for the national team over the years.
2 veterans of this squad and 2 veterans of women's soccer in this country, Becky Sauerbrunn and Nicole Barnhart. Becky, you know, she just calms everything for you. She can start play out of the back. She can come out of the back, you know, and make things dangerous in the attack. And she's certainly earned that captain's armband for the U.S. team. And she's so respected by other players, and she's a ton of fun to watch play. And Barney, I can't say enough about. She and Hope competed at the exact same time in the Pac-10. Hope at University of Washington, Barney at Stanford. She is just a tremendous teammate, a tremendous human being, and you're right. She had that moniker of being the backup forever, but she was always someone that you could count on, and when she did get her start, she did an outstanding job, and now she's sitting in the NWSL with 2 championship rings.
For the Seattle Reign, winners last week 3-0 at Boston, Kim Little was simply outstanding. So good, in fact, she was named the league's player of the week after a goal and 2 assist performance 2 seasons ago, the MVP of the league. And Kim Little is a player that if she gets a lot of touches, that certainly improves the odds of Seattle getting a victory today.
Definitely. In the home opener against Sky Blue did a pretty good job of locking her down and collapsing on the entire midfield for Seattle, and she just didn't have her best game or see much of the ball in that second game, and you knew it was going to be the case with all of these players. Coach Harvey talked about it before the second game, is how they reacted to a disappointing home opener, and Kim Little is certainly someone who prides herself in having an impact for her team. So, it's a long season, as everyone knows, and you're going to have good games and you're going to have average games, and Kim doesn't have very many average games, so I'm looking forward to see how much Kansas City can do about her today, and how much she can get on the ball and be a threat, 1, to thread balls to her teammates, and 2, to get goals herself.
And that season-opening loss here against Sky Blue, the first loss at Memorial Stadium for the Reign in 2 years of calling this facility home. The referee today is Greg Dopka. The assistant referees, Deliana Kwan and Seth Martin, and the 4th official, Jeff Arthur Holtz. Nice to have you with us. It's kind of a Seattle versus Kansas City weekend, and that the World Series champion Royals in town as we speak. I believe their game is still underway or just concluded against the Mariners at Safeco Field, just a few miles south of Memorial Stadium. And here it's Kansas City against Seattle, a rematch of the last 2 NWSL title games. Some of the early things, Leslie, we should watch for with this Seattle lineup missing Jess Fishlock this week.
Yeah, Jess Fishlock obviously is a big loss. She's an engine for the Reign in the midfield, and again helps Keelan with the defensive efforts as well as setting play for the Reign. It looks as though Bev Yanez might drop back into the midfield. We'll see what they end up taking shape here.
Lauren Barnes allowing that ball to lead to a goal kick for Hope Solo. A busy traveler. She was in D.C. just last night for the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and on the pitch today taking on Kansas City. See that pink headband, number 3 for Kansas City, Desiree Scott, a member of the Canadian National League national team, just an outstanding midfielder, very active, and certainly a player to keep an eye on this afternoon.
Yeah, she's had a great international career and does a lot for this team. So Bev Yanez is going to be in the midfield today, at least to start with. She's going to be with Winters and Little, dropping back into the 10 spot with Mellis Mathias and Reed up front, playing over on the left wing.
Would that be a big adjustment for Bev? How does that
impact
how she
Bev
plays?
Is great at coming back, to get the ball. She plays well with her back to goal. She's skillful. It's almost like playing a false 9, just kind of withdrawn off that front line. She'll do perfectly fine there. The defensive responsibility, Bev can cover a lot of ground. She should do quite well in there.
Erica Timrak fouled, so the free kick for Kansas City to be taken by Becky Sauerbrunn. Into the 18, getting ahead on it, but wide on that shot. A good attempt that time by Brittany Taylor. Check it, that was number not 13, that was 23, Caroline Castor. So good early action for the fill-in for Shea Groom this week. Taylor, Andy Laddish, number 7. Jen Buskowski, number 6, playing it back to Barnhart.
Both Laddish and Buskowski, a couple of Irish prodigies of Notre Dame.
Laddish on the ball. Working that far touchline, and good defense by the Seattle rookie out of Florida State, Carson Pickett. She's played every minute of the first 2 matches, filling in for Stephanie Cox filling in permanently as Stephanie has gone into retirement. We're going to have much more on her at halftime as she was honored here today, and she'll join us for a conversation to talk about some of the changes in her life, and we look forward to that.
Yeah, legend is an understatement. Steph's one of the best. So many different ways, just transcending soccer.
Yeah.
For a lot of other reasons. A real humanitarian, just a terrific human being. Back to Carson Pickett, Coach Harvey has been beyond pleased with her performance and feels like she struck gold with her draft pick this year. She's in disbelief that she's a rookie. She just says she doesn't act like one, doesn't play like one, very seasoned.
4th overall pick in the NWSL draft, also experience on the US U17s, U23s.
And we talked about her before. One of the reasons, I told Laura I thought the reason was she seems so seasoned is Florida State's team, not just their national championship team, but just year to year, they have quite an international flavor. Coach Mark Krikorian recruits quite a few internationals, so she's got a little sophistication having played with that type of player in her career.
Rachel Corsi that time was hoping that ball would get through to Manon Mellis. It was cut off. I think it was Mara Mathias. Of course, he had a nice run going.
Defensively, it's interesting. Anytime you watch any opponent play Seattle, they collapse rather quickly right onto the midfield players. They get numbers around the ball in the central part of the midfield. Everyone knows that's a very dangerous area.
Little to Kendall Fletcher. Ellie Reed defended well that time by a former teammate here in Seattle, and Amanda Frisbee, drafted out of the University of Portland back in 2014, but missed all of that campaign due to injury. So nice to see Amanda healthy and doing some very nice things for this Kansas City squad. Good defense there by Pickett.
Yeah, it was, I know, tough for the Reign to let go of one of their pilots because they have quite a few on their squad, but happy to see Friz land in a good squad like Kansas City and be able to contribute, and here she finds herself starting today.
Just saw a little brief example of what Kim Little can do when she's on the ball. That's one of the strategies defensively today for Coach Andonovsky, is trying to deny the supply of balls being fed to Kim Little, and then once Kim's on the ball, you can really have to tighten some things up, not give her a lot of room to operate with. This is Lauren Barnes.
Yeah, and that's just in their defensive shape. You'll see they won't necessarily man mark her. They'll keep track of her, and they'll just try to get in those passing lanes in between her and the ball. But her movement and her read of the defensive pressure is so good, and at such a high level. You can maybe limit, but you can't, completely take her out of it typically.
Pickett to Keelan Winters. Yanez, well defended that time by Heather O'Reilly. And back to Solo. Both teams still in that feeling out process. Really settle in more of a flow with this match. Here's Little drawing 2 defenders. Plays it off to her Scottish international teammate Corsi. Nice flick on that time by Mellis. And denied that time. Good defense by Frisbee. Yanez midfield. And advantage call initially slowing that whistle. Seattle will take the free kick. And Kim Little to take it as we are scoreless here in the early stages at Memorial Stadium in Seattle. The rematch of the last 2 National Women's Soccer League games. 2 years ago it was 2-1 Kansas City. Amy Rodriguez scoring both goals. Megan Rapinoe with a late goal for Seattle. And Kansas City surviving as the Reign put a ton of pressure on Nicole Barnhart late in that match. And then the rematch last season, that one played in Portland. Again, it was an Amy Rodriguez goal in a 1-0 victory to give Kansas City the championship. And the first corner kick of this match coming up. Seattle scoring off a corner last week. It was Kim Little taking it, finding the head of Corsi, who put it in for the goal. That came in the 39th minute, giving Seattle a 2-0 advantage at that time as Seattle was on its way to a 3-0 win. Lauren Barnes, the left foot in, targeting Winners. And Corsi playing it to Pickett.
I'd help you out, but no one can hear me.
And the throw in coming up for Seattle. Ellie Reed. Yanez.
Okay.
Up ahead, Heather O'Reilly now. Back to Scott. And the foul on Seattle, Yanez. Desiree Scott very good on the ball making the turn, and you saw Yanez getting that left arm out.
Yeah. I don't think that was the harshest foul I've seen, but you're going to get that called most times.
Nice touch by Pickett to play it ahead, but good pursuit that time on the ball by Castor. Mellis.
She's got speed, Mellis. That's a great early ball.
Matthias unable to get on it.
Yeah,
And
good awareness.
Ellie Reed couldn't keep it in, but good pressure that time by the Reign.
Good awareness by Mellis. One, she's got just lightning speed, but to play that ball early, there's a good space in there right behind the back line for Kansas City, and it's just unfortunate not to be able to put it in a place where they could get on the end of it, but that was a very dangerous and great opportunity for the Reign.
Manon Mellis, the all-time leading scorer for the Netherlands, 55 international goals. Got her first goal as a member of the Reign, putting Seattle on the board last week against Boston in the 10th minute off the Kim Little assist. Corsi goes down, Castor with it for Kansas City. Timrak. And good anticipation that time by Keelan Winners.
Keelan's got her head up.
And Mellis unable to track it down. Missed opportunity that time for the Reign on the counterattack.
They look good with numbers on the break there. Keelan wishes she had that one back. Then again, with Mellis's speed, I think that would, typically be a decent ball. That would have had a chance for someone as fast as she is.
Corsi back to Barnes. Lauren Barnes, one of the top defenders in the National Women's Soccer League. Very strong Seattle defense. Terrific tackle that time by Frisbee. She'll throw it in.
Yeah, they're composed. They're great at starting the attack. They just don't get beat 1-versus-1 a lot. Lou Barnes plays well with either foot. She's got a good left foot, but also decent with her right, and has been in and out of national team camps. Was in a camp earlier this year. She's just one of those players. She has an impact by being consistent, and I think that if you're a defender and you can say about yourself that you're consistent, that's a plus. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to be all world, but if you're consistent, you're going to have a tremendous impact for your team.
And that dependability that those midfielders can rely on, and also your keeper, can make a world of difference. Here's Reed. How about Ellie Reed's skill set, Leslie, in terms of usually a defender playing up in the midfield? Good fit for her?
Yeah, Ellie's another one that, she's kind of been in and out of the starting lineup. Last year she didn't see a ton of time on the back line after having started for the first 2 seasons, and And it's, it's a wear and tear position, playing outside back, getting up and down the field, and it's competitive on this team. There's a lot of good players that play that spot, but you find yourself again today in a pinch with Ellie Reed on the field playing over in the left wing spot, and she's good with both feet, and can get up and down the field all day. So she transitions, she can get forward well, and has great endurance. So that's a role that suits her.
Drums kicking into gear here at Memorial Stadium, scoreless in the 14th minute.
Beautiful day here in Seattle. Like you said, a little bit breezy, but it's just gorgeous.
We'll take it. High today expected 75 degrees. Tomorrow we're going to warm it up even more, about 85.
April showers bring May flowers. Yay.
And throw in for Seattle. We have been having some audio issues. We apologize for that. Ball into Kim Little. Triple teamed. And boy, look at that ability to weave out of trouble. And quickly, here come two more defenders right at Little. You'll see that all afternoon long.
Yeah, she's just so good at solving pressure. Obviously, her feet are magical.
Matthias, the target on that pass.
The big thing for the Reign in possession when Kim's got the ball is if she's drawing 2 and 3 players, that means there's players open somewhere else. So if they can get underneath her really quickly, get it off her, get it back to her, combine with her, it'll prove to be more of a threat.
Well, not a geographical rivalry. This is certainly one of the better rivalries in the National Women's Soccer League, and certainly those last 2 championship games having a lot to do with that. But it's interesting in talking to both coaches, Vlatko Andonovski and Laura Harvey, the respect that these two teams have for each other. Yeah, they want to beat the heck out of each other when they get together, but really admire what each franchise has been able to do in the brief period of the NWSL.
Yeah, that is very, very evident when speaking to both coaches, and I would say even from the beginning and the inception of the league is what Kansas City has done, and a lot of people didn't know about Vlatko Andonovski and his background. With the major indoor, with the MISL, and playing pro for 6 seasons in Europe, he just was not someone that a lot of women's soccer players or women's soccer fans knew a lot about. And so people were kind of skeptical at first. And then all you had to do was once see the brand of soccer that his teams play, how organized they are, how well coached they are, and proof is in the pudding 2 championships later.
One of the things I talked to him about with the new faces, some of the significant changes they have had is Nellis making that pass, a little off communication with Mara Matthias. He goes, we're not going to alter it all for the players. We're going to, the players are going to have to fit our style, but we're going to stick with what we do, and you can certainly understand why with back-to-back titles.
Yeah. And I think having talked to some of his players, the Caitlin Rowlands, some of the U23 players that have ended up there, one of my players, Mackenzie Karras, went for the open tryout. They wanted to keep her as a practice player. Didn't make financial sense, but I asked her about her experience at Kansas City. And again, talking to some other players, is he really lets players be players, even though he does want them to play within a structure and within the system that he's installed here. He does let them be them. Erica Timrak, I think, is a great example of that. She's a different player, and she's got a lot of really great attributes that make her dangerous and difficult to defend, and she has a lot of freedom on this team to be her.
Throw in for Kansas City. Pick it back to Solo. Look at the effort from Heather O'Reilly, putting pressure on Hope. Of course, they know each other very well.
They've seen each other a few times.
Reign FC matches are great for your next corporate outing or team activity. Ticket discounts are available for groups of 15 or more. Call Reign FC at 855-REIGN-FC for more information.
For this game so far, neither team has really strung together a ton of passes. It's been a little bit disjointed from a possession standpoint, and that always kind of speaks to the fact that the pressure from both teams is good. They're not letting each other. So the Reign, again, I talked about Kim Little getting on the ball. She's got to find open players a little bit quicker, especially when she's not quite in the final third yet. Solve her pressure early. Try to get the ball out of crowded areas.
If Yanez kind of splitting the difference between Little and Keelan Winters.
And that was a bit of an example there. There was some good possession, but the numbers around the ball. Kansas City had 5 or 6 players over here, and it needed to go to the other side a little bit quicker.
Yanez and Timrak getting tied up. Foul call going against Seattle. Averbush forward. Castor tried to get ahead on it. Barnes to Winters.
This is where Seattle has to take advantage of this big shape they like to play in. Can't get caught thinking on the ball too much, just have to see it, play it, move off it, connect passes, get it over to the other side.
And Little. And again, the breakdown in the connection, Little to Kendall Fletcher that time.
And you know, I will very rarely be critical of Kim Little, but I think that was an instance where the Reign have tended to maybe go a little bit more direct than they need to. They don't need that one final pass to happen from the middle third. I think Kim could have connected one more pass, even gotten it back herself, and built more numbers going forward. You don't want to bank on being able to outrun your defenders every single time. I think combination playing, being able to build with better numbers, they're skillful enough to do it, and it's a more effective and a more likely way that they're going to create a good chance for themselves.
Is that something, Leslie, you just kind of in a game you fall into that? Not that you're trying to do it, but you just get into this habit of going more direct and less possession?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes you can kind of get into that. Yeah, you're exactly right. That habit of, you know, we want to score now, someone's making a run, let me play her, as opposed to letting that run unbalance the defense and then finding a different pass before that and then finding that runner, or just letting them drag them out of shape and going to where they've left space for you. So those are things that, you know, again, I'm very rarely critical of Kim because she does find that ball a lot of the times, but I think she just got a little impatient there.
Room for Yanez playing it off to Winters. She's double teamed, and comes Yanez to get it back, and that call will go against Desiree Scott. Free kick coming up for the Reign.
This is an area I wouldn't say necessarily. Here you see a little bit of Keelan getting tied up under pressure, not a foul, and then Bev comes in late and gets clipped. But here's a interesting free kick. This isn't really in shooting range. This is obviously at the center circle. The Reign spread out all across the 18. It'll be interesting to see who they target. My guess would be Corsi or Winters on a driven ball.
And that was initially targeted to Kendall Fletcher. And on the backside, coming through, that was Rachel Corsi.
Yep.
And last week off a corner kick, it was Little and Corsi connecting for a goal. Timrak. And the switch to Averbush. Reed to Winters.
Yale's another player who, you know, she's played center back here for them, but she's typically has been a central midfield player. Another versatile, steady Eddie, skillful.
The direct play that we were discussing moments ago, how much of that could be impacted by not having Jess Fishlock in that midfield? Is that a bit of an adjustment?
I don't think so. I think they've fallen into this habit several times when we've seen them. Did you see the ball that Corsi just played?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking for somebody run from the half line, playing a ball into the 18. When you have all these great skillful players centrally, I think that they sell themselves short when they do that. And maybe it's just a little impatience early in the game. They want to get up quickly. But they could do a better job of building and creating numbers and really breaking down the Kansas City team for a goal. The other thing you'll find if you start to get too direct and it's not working is you sort of run your forwards out of gas a little bit. You know, instead of kind of short, sharper passes with numbers.
Laddish on the ball. Now Scott. You can probably hear through our microphones. We're doing our best to kind of shield those from the wind, but it is getting gusty at times. Again, Scott. Timrak. Laddish, nice switch over to the far side. And onside, unable to get there was Heather O'Reilly. And goal kick for Hope Solo. We were talking before this match about the high quality of talent and goal for both of these teams, and kind of drawing the analogy, Nicole Barnhart, who's exceptional, just happened to come around at the same time as Hope Solo, kind of like Phil Mickelson trying to deal with Tiger Woods over all the years. Two great talents, but one just a bit better at the same time.
Well, and I think Hope would be the first one to tell you, without Barney, there's no hope. I mean, it's weird because it's the goalkeeper position, and everyone, it looks at that role differently than the rest of the team because of the position that it is. But you have to have competition just like every other position on the field. And if you aren't training every day and competing every day with someone else that's of the same high quality as you are, you're not going to improve and you're not going to be pushed. You're going to get complacent and just not be better at your job. And Hope and Barney for years have been, I think, the best medicine for one another.
Frisbee playing it ahead, looking for Castor. And Corsi plays it out in the first corner kick of this match coming up for FC Kansas City. Just one goal this season through the first two matches for KC, and that came courtesy of Shea Groom in the 30th minute last week versus Portland. The assist on that one going to Heather O'Reilly.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit tricky. Into the sun, so the players are all looking into the sun, and the wind is blowing stiffly into the goal. You can see the corner flag where Heyo's lined up.
Far post. Solo got a hand on it. Foul in the box against KC. Timrak applying pressure, and then here comes Castor.
Well, there's a move that would make Amy Griffin proud. Amy once pulled a Cruyff against, I think, a Swede in international play, and Hope with a quick little 1-2 split the defender pass there with her left foot. Not too shabby.
Is Hope actually a midfielder at heart?
Oh, she's a forward.
A forward.
Leading scorer in the state of Washington as a high school player, Richland Bombers.
Good to have that skill set to fall back onto when you need to. Laddish. And Kansas City to regroup near midfield.
Definitely possession has run in the favor of Kansas City as of late, the last few minutes.
Even Winters getting physical with Timrak. Nellis, nice ball to Ellie Reed. Can she catch up to it? She cannot, but a good idea, although more of that direct play you were talking about.
A little bit direct, a good ball. That's where Ellie should stay, maybe stay out wide a little bit longer. And again, on the turf, the ball's going to ride and the wind's behind. I mean, they're going to hit it kind of stiff because it's into the wind, so they're probably going to overhit it. So if you start out wide, anything in front of you cutting in on goal is on. And if you start to narrow your run too soon, you run that risk of the margin of error being greater and having it run out like it did. So the idea was right. Ellie's run maybe needed to stay wide a little bit longer.
Yanez, Reed, getting pressure from O'Reilly. And also Brittany Taylor.
Brittany Taylor this year, coming over from the Western New York Flash. Solid defender out of the University of Connecticut.
And quite a few players on this team acquired by trade in the offseason. Ball played in. Averbush clearing it out, and just a bit high that time by Manon Mellis, but
you have to admire the courage to hit that shot. She got it coming off the half volley and really committed to it. We all would have been clapping if that went in.
Amanda Frisbee, Brittany Taylor, Sydney LaRue, Tiffany McCarty all acquired via trade this past offseason for Kansas City, and LaRue not playing this year due to pregnancy. Congratulations to her, a former member of the Reign.
Married to Dom Dwyer, who plays for Sporting KC, so she's where she wants to be.
There may be a young soccer player in the future of that family. We'll see.
If you'd think they'd have a chance.
Maybe just a slight one.
Yeah. So here's where I think the Reign, they have good numbers in the front half of the field. Obviously it's on wide, but here's where they can. They can build a little bit more. Possess the ball in the front third of the field with numbers.
Little to Corsi.
And very key that you see all those players that are kind of backed up against their defenders don't just stand. They've got to move and get into different channels, trade places with each other a little bit more.
Aaron Mathias and Scott committing the foul. And
Desiree Scott's number 3 has been called quite a few times when the whistle's blown today.
She's active.
It'll be interesting to see how long until the possibility of a card gets shown here. I'm guessing maybe the next one.
And there you see Scott coming in hard on Aaron Mathias, who scored the lone Seattle goal in the opener against Sky Blue.
Now this is within shooting range, and Lauren Barnes got a good left foot. Whether she decides to take it or run over it and let Kim hit it, I'm going to guess Kim.
Little. Off target and high.
Got it up but didn't get it down. Gave herself a little swipe of the face for reset. Back to the next thing.
Such a great player, Kim Little. I was at training on Friday, and there were 3 players well after training had ended and working really hard, that trio, which included Kim Little. No satisfaction having been named Player of the Week. Always trying to improve her game.
Oh, she's the consummate professional. She's been such a joy to watch in this city. What a treat we have here with her on our team.
Nellis tied up with Frisbee. Laddish playing it back to Sauerbrunn.
Kristen Press just put Chicago Red Stars on the board on a ball from Danielle Colaprico to go up 1-0 over the Orlando Pride. Other action going on around the league.
Orlando will be next up for Seattle down in Florida next Sunday. That game will kick off at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Kansas City next week will be home against Houston. That'll be on Saturday. Frisbee getting to it, and they're able to control it. Nellis, here's Little with room. Reed out to her left. And unable to put a quality cross into the box, Ellie Reed. Wear what the pros wear. Pick up the new 2016 jersey for men, women, or kids. We have hundreds of Reign FC items to choose from. Head to ReignFCShop.com.
Yeah, that last ball, Ellie Reed, I know what she was thinking. She saw a big space in behind their back line and again went to try to get it in behind there on a one touch. In retrospect, probably should have taken a touch and hit it after that, but just didn't get the bend on it that she wanted. Becky Sauerbrunn slowing it down.
Talk about Becky, what she's meant to soccer in general, but to the U.S. national team in particular.
Well, I mean, she obviously in light of Christy Rampone's 7,000 gazillion caps, and you know, and a newcomer like Julie Johnson, Becky stepped in and just again has veteran thinking, veteran playing ability, and just a calm, composed manner at the back that you want out of your defenders. And she's a heck of a defender to boot. You know, she doesn't get beat 1-versus-1 very often, and she transitions so well into the attack. She sees things that that not all defenders see at this level, and she just really has been a bright spot, not just for this team, but for the U.S. national team.
Great to have that type of makeup. Also, very similar the player on the ball right now, and Heather O'Reilly and Barnhart. When you're transitioning to some degree, this Kansas City franchise, for Coach Andonovsky to have those anchors, those pillars, and
with their
they are that.
Yeah, with their injuries and their other losses, to have those type of veterans on the squad are going to be key to any type of success they have this year.
Headed out by Fletcher. And here's O'Reilly. There, Matthias, over aggressive on that move. Timrack denied by Keelan Winters. Frisbee down.
Good read by Fletch.
A little slowing it down. Pick it off target that time. Averbush there for Kansas City.
Yeah, and I just don't think that's a ball you need to play. If Lauren, Barnes, and Corsi just drop off a little bit of the back, they can swing that one back around, or even drop off a little bit more to create more space in the middle for Kim and Keelan. You can play that ball through the midfield and definitely on the ground and keep it for a few more passes.
Neither squad with any serious scoring threat so far in this first half, as we are in the 35th minute. Winners. Yanez, Ellie Reed. Nice cutback by Reed. And tackled off the ball. Did she hold on to that just a bit too long, Coach? Maybe dumping it off to her right. I think it was Matthias she had. Throw in coming up for Kansas City.
Yeah, it was a pretty good tackle. And I think Ellie ran out of moves at that point. I thought, she did close herself down a little bit and just didn't have that last thing to get through there. Maybe just a little touch to slot it through to somebody else running on in the space behind. But the first part of it was great. She really threatened the back line.
Winners. And Corsi. And Nellis with a quick touch. I think the intent was go to Yanez. Sauerbrunn for Kansas City. Averbush.
That's just execution. The ideas are right, and that's what they want to do. They want to try to get it up, back, and through, into players' feet, back to their midfield players, either out the other side or to somebody else to combine with centrally. But when you're trying to play one touch instead of two, or where your touch is off and you miss it, it's it has nothing to do with tactics. It's just the technical execution. And the Reign typically are good at stringing passes together under pressure. I would say, too, these two teams, a lot of times when you're so familiar with an opponent and you do have the kind of respect you were talking about, and they play similar styles, they both want to build out of the back and possess, a lot of times you end up with what we're seeing right now, which is a little bit of a stalemate currently.
Sauerbrunn. Up ahead, trying to find her teammate O'Reilly. And Barnes will head it out and give up the throw in. Timrack will give that up to Frisbee. And Nellis. Didn't seem like there was a lot there, but enough there.
And I think well.
Did I see that right?
Yes, and I think Mellis just said to Erica Timrack, sorry, I don't know if that was a foul or not, but I'm happy it was. She got out of a little bit of trouble there in a dangerous part of the field.
And of course, he just a poor pass there, not even in the neighborhood of Matthias.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily running into that crowded space is going to help you keep the ball either. That's the only option she had was to hit it there, and it wasn't a well-hit ball. The other team is organized behind the ball like both of these teams are. It's very compact in there. The numbers are tight. It's hard to get through. You really have to show patience and not just good ball movement, but movement off the ball. So what tends to happen, again, is you see a lot of stagnation. The players that are far side of the ball aren't making slashing runs across. They're not moving in and then moving out and getting replaced by a midfielder. Maybe the 9 checks in and the 10 runs past her. Just a little bit more place changing to break the other team down. And I think if the Reigns start to move a little bit more into pockets like that they'll have more success. But right now they're just a little bit stagnant, sat up against their back line, and Kansas City has a good back line. You're not going to find a ton of success just getting backed up into them.
Fletcher in quickly looking for Matthias, and Frisbee took it away for Kansas City. Here's Timrak. Good find. Pass up ahead. Laddish. Here's Castor. Working on Corsi. Scott. O'Reilly onside. Working on Pickett. Dangerous ball into the box, into the 6-yard box. And a deflected shot, giving Hope Solo some trouble. She did not anticipate that shot, courtesy of Averbush. Did not look like it would be that dangerous, but that was very close to a goal for Kansas City.
Well, anybody that knows Yale Averbush, I'm just kind of making a joke. I think it took an interesting hop, and Hope obviously had to tip it over the bar, but that's probably one of Yale's little tricks she has. She does a lot of skills videos. She does a lot of skills work. That was probably something she planned and hit just off the right part of her laces to make it bounce like it did. But I'm kind of joking, but if you've seen the stuff that Yale can do with a soccer ball, it's not really that funny. It's amazing.
Second corner for Kansas City. Timrak takes it. Far post. Solo just getting a hand on it. And Averbush with that size, very close to getting a head on it. Another corner coming up for KC.
And it's interesting, on this corner, Yale's dropping back and out of the corner. So who they target here and what the plan is, again, there is a plan. It's to play it back and to keep numbers and keep them pressed into their own box.
O'Reilly offside, flag up.
Good movement by O'Reilly there, but that was close.
Kansas City with a little momentum here in the latter stages of the 41st minute of the opening half. The rematch of the last 2 NWSL championship games, both won by Kansas City.
Definitely a little flurry for FCKC. In the waning moments of the half, it'd be good to see Seattle string a flurry together of their own.
Pickett playing it back to Solo.
Keelan Winters has not been on the ball much. And typically, a lot of the Reigns' success gets played through her. She's a great link player. And errant turnovers, unforced errors like that are what's keeping them from really being at their best currently.
Throw in for Seattle. And the Reign opening this season with a 2-1 loss here at home to Sky Blue 2 weeks ago. Regrouped, went back to Boston last week, put together a very nice match, a 3-0 victory for FC Kansas City, opening with a 1-0 loss to Western New York. And then last week, the 1-1 draw to the Portland Thorns, with Portland scoring late to get the equalizer in the 78th minute.
Mm-hmm.
Little. They get a maybe longer than needed pass that time. Looking for Mellis. And honestly, it's hard to tell. We're a little bit elevated here at the stadium, and we're certainly feeling the strong breeze. I'm not sure how much of an impact it may be having on some of those longer passes.
Yeah, which But certainly if it is having an effect and the players can feel it, would bode well for putting it down on the ground a little bit more than they have.
Well, you can't get any closer to the action without being on the team. Join Reign FC on the pitch at Memorial Stadium for your chance to meet players, watch warm-ups, and receive exclusive team signed gear, the VIP experience with the Seattle Reign. Header by Pickett. Winners with some room. And at halftime, as soon as play comes to an end here for the first 45 minutes, we plan at this point have a short chat with Laura Harvey, get her thoughts on the first half, some of the adjustments she'll want to see for the second 45 here in Seattle.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a chess match. Again, you see how compact it is. It's got to be from the back line to the front line of both teams, no more than 35 yards. And both teams being a little bit impatient and just not trying to find little seams to play 20, 25 yard passes, instead opting for the 35, 40 yard hopeful ball, and it hasn't boded well for either of them. So I think both coaches at halftime are going to discuss breaking pressure, breaking one line of their team at a time, trying to get yourself facing forward to combine with the next group in front of you. Both are certainly skillful enough and good enough players to do it. It just doesn't seem that either have the mobility or the energy to really, no one's put their foot on the ball and decided to do it more than maybe a couple of times in possession.
In the 45th minute, I would not expect much, if any, added time here in the first half.
And another long ball ends up in a throw-in for Kansas City.
Ladies and gentlemen,
a little more hopeful than anything else.
45 minutes here in the first half, and the fourth official has indicated 1 minute of stoppage time. 1 minute of stoppage time.
Goal kick for Seattle.
One of the things with Bev Yanez coming back and playing in the midfield and being withdrawn more off the front line, is one of the things that Bev does give you is mobility. The running she does off the ball to spread and threaten the back line of the other team really creates for others, and it creates for herself a lot of the time. It's part of that stagnation we're talking about. Merritt Mathias is a little bit more of a rough and tumble, run it down, grind it out type of forward. Manamela is more of a, just straight out runner, and she stayed out on this wide channel most of the time. Bev's usually the one that gives them more options up front. So it'll be interesting to see at halftime if that's something Laura looks at and puts Bev up there.
Closing seconds of this first half, and the whistle blows from referee Greg Dopka. And we are scoreless in Seattle between the Seattle Reign and FC Kansas City.
FC Kansas City 0.
Day of weather in Seattle, and so far two teams both still trying to get in to a rhythm. And we will have Laura Harvey speaking with us here momentarily. Kansas City in the latter stages of the opening half really putting the best pressure on Hope Solo, as opposed to what the Reign did in terms of trying to make Nicole Barnhart feel uncomfortable. She really didn't have to do too much over the first 45 minutes. And we'll be connecting here with Coach Harvey momentarily. We'll see if Laura can hear us. She'll give us a thumbs up. Laura, thank you so much. What were your impressions of the first half?
Well, it was a lot better than Sky Blue, I can say that. Just defensively, I thought our shape was better, and we've restricted Kansas to set-piece opportunities, and they've not been able to play through us and played a lot more direct than probably what they would like to, which is pleasing. But I think we need to be a little bit better on the ball going forward. Our movement higher up the field needs to be a little bit better. But in terms of a response for the home fans from the Sky Blue game, it was a massive difference.
Laura, just on that note, do you think you lose a little something up front in the front three, pulling Bev back into the midfield? I know she's one of those mobile players that stretches and moves defenses around a little bit. Is that something you've looked at?
Yeah, I think that Bev in the 10, I think we could find her a little bit more. I think she's had a little bit more space than what we've found her in. But when we have found her, she obviously causes people problems. But I think with the front three we've got, we're just not utilising what they are, which is quick and direct. And I think that's something we need to talk about at half-time, because I think when we break their line, we've just got to be a little bit more direct in terms of getting at them. And then as they start to tire, it might be something we change in the midfield as the game goes on.
Laura Harvey, thank you so much for your time. Good luck in the second half. Laura Harvey, the general manager and head coach of the Seattle Reign. We are scoreless here in Seattle. We had a terrific ceremony pregame 2 weeks ago. Person to my right, Leslie Gallimore, was recognized each regular season game this season. Reign FC will honor one woman as a Seattle Reign FC legend in recognition of her extraordinary contribution to our community and beyond. And the Legends campaign is a partnership between Reign FC and Chihuly Studio. As I mentioned, the first recipient of this honor, Leslie Gallimore. Today's honoree, former Reign player Stephanie Cox. And Reign FC is thrilled to recognize Steph as a Seattle Reign FC legend for a brilliant career at the University of Portland, also on the U.S. women's national team. And with Seattle Reign FC, she played at the University of Portland, where she helped claim an NCAA championship in 2005 after an undefeated season. In her senior season with the Pilots in 2007, Stephanie was chosen as Oregon's Female Amateur Athlete of the Year. She started her career with the U.S. Women's National Team in 2006. Over her career, she amassed 89 caps, a bronze medal in the 2007 World Cup, gold medal in the 08 Olympics, silver medal at the 2011 World Cup. She joined Reign FC midway through the 2013 NWSL season after the birth of her first child. In 2014 and 2015, Steph anchored the NWSL's toughest defense, surrendering the fewest goals that year while winning the NWSL Shield both seasons. She's also made giving back to the community a priority, growing up in a family where her parents helped raise several foster children. Steph was inspired to give back to those in need. She's traveled the world creating opportunities for those who are less fortunate than her. So we certainly want to pass our congratulations to Stephanie Cox. We will chat with her in mere moments.
You look like Tomo. Gave Allison her freckles and put the blue in Jordan's eyes. And genes are what can help the Swedish Cancer Institute choose which treatment will work best for each individual patient. At the Swedish Cancer Institute, we call this new way of treating cancer personalized medicine. But people like Sherry call it a ticket back home. The Swedish Cancer Institute. Extraordinary care, extraordinary caring.
In 1935, 18 workers each contributed 50 cents to start BECU. The first loans helped coworkers buy the tools they needed to do their jobs. Today, we're Washington's leading credit union, and we're still banding together to make our money go further. Because while others stay motivated by profits, we're motivated by something greater: our members. Join us.
By the time these babies grow up, someone they know will get cancer. But when that happens, doctors will sequence the DNA in their cancer cells to guide them toward the best treatment, and their cancer will be cured. This personalized genetic medicine sounds like just the thing we've been waiting for. Only at the Swedish Cancer Institute, we're not waiting. The Swedish Cancer Institute. Extraordinary care, extraordinary caring.
We just tried to put some things right from the Sky Blue game into the Boston game, and we did that at times. We always know that we're going to have a lot of possession against teams. I think maybe Kansas is the one team that matches on that, so that'll be interesting. But I think we've always believed that if we're hard to beat, then we'll do okay, and I don't think we were that against Sky Blue, and we were probably that for 60 minutes of the game against Boston and let them in it a little bit. Still wasn't perfect, still have things that we want to make sure we're better at for this week, but I think that it's not a bad thing. I think if you're going to not be perfect and you're not going to be in the right place at the start of the season, it's the right time to do that. So yeah, every day is working really hard to try and make sure that we can be better than we were the day before.
Into the box for Little. Little pass to the top. Stout can't make the save. A score for Seattle.
there's so much respect between the two teams. They play the game in the right way, in my opinion. They try and move the ball quickly. They try and find little pockets of space to play through you and around you. And now, a little bit different than maybe before, they try and hit you on the counter-attack as quickly as possible. And it always poses a fantastic test, I think. Have huge respect for their players and their coaching staff. So we're looking forward to it. And more importantly than the final, we need to put a performance on for our fans, because I don't think we did that against Sky Blue.
Jeans are what made Kazi look like Tomo, gave Allison her freckles, and put the blue in Jordan's eyes. And jeans are what can help the Swedish Cancer Institute choose which treatment will work best for each individual patient. At the Swedish Cancer Institute, we call this new way of treating cancer personalized medicine. But people like Sherry call it a ticket back home. The Swedish Cancer Institute. Extraordinary care, extraordinary caring.
In 1935, 18 workers each contributed 50 cents to start BECU. The first loans helped coworkers buy the tools they needed to do their jobs. Today, we're Washington's leading credit union, and we're still banding together to make our money go further. Because while others stay motivated by profits, we're motivated by something greater: our members. Join us.
By the time these babies grow up, someone they know will get cancer. But when that happens, doctors will sequence the DNA in their cancer cells to guide them toward the best treatment, and their cancer will be cured. This personalized genetic medicine sounds like just the thing we've been waiting for. Only at the Swedish Cancer Institute, we're not waiting. The Swedish Cancer Institute. Extraordinary care, extraordinary caring.
Yeah, I think we're obviously disappointed with our Sky Blue result and how we performed, and I think we just needed to build on that against Boston. I think we did some things very well, but even from that game, despite the 3-0 win, we still had a lot to work on this week. So yeah, it's just for us progressively getting better. We have a lot of new players within the squad, and trying to get that together so we can put the best performance on Sundays.
Into the box for Little. Little pass to the top. Stout can't make the save. A score for Seattle.
I think we lost instrumental players to our team and how we played last season, and taking in different ones this year. So of course it's going to take time to get to know each other and learn how each other's play goes, especially strengths and weaknesses. It's always going to take a little bit of time, and I think all we are focusing on is just trying to get better.
Ooh, Jessica Fishlock is down and injured.
As you said, and Jess are very big players for us and have been for the whole 4 seasons here at Seattle Reign, and we just need to adapt to it, and these things happen in every team, and it's how you move on and adapt until they come back, or we just need to work around that, and when players come in or players move positions, just need to make sure that everyone knows their job.
Kim Little will take this corner kick for the Reign. At the near post, and they cannot keep it out. It's a goal.
I think the last professional leagues here have folded after 3 years, so to have this 4th season I think is great, and also to expand the league as well to 10 teams with Orlando coming in is great for the league especially, and the amount of fans that came out to support them in their opening game, and that kind of growth as well. I think it's moving forward, definitely in the right direction.
Into the box, and Stout can't make the save. Into the side netting, a goal for Kim Little.
I think for me, there's no specific thing I want to get better at. I just go into training and go into games wanting to play to the best of my ability. And each game you make little mistakes, but it's how you improve on them. And I think that can come in all aspects of your game, whether it's my strengths or my weaknesses.
Well, welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Scoreless at halftime. Seattle Reign FC Kansas City, a rematch of the last 2 championship games of the National Women's Soccer League. Great to have some folks stepping in. You're getting some airtime on YouTube. Always good to be next to a legend. I get to broadcast with one every time. The first winner of the Reign FC Legend Award, and now the second recipient, Stephanie Cox, joining us. Stephanie retiring from professional soccer for a very good reason. We saw that very good reason. Little Grace, 2 weeks old in just a couple of days.
Yeah, it's really exciting to go into the locker room and show her off to all the girls and get kind of emotional because they were definitely a huge part of that. I think my first trimester was while we were doing the playoffs, so exciting to have them hold her, and Megan's a natural, and Laura was a little nervous when she started to cry, but fun to be back.
Yeah. How did it feel to be back today and kind of see what's going on and specifically receiving this honor? And I think it's very fair to say it's overused at times. I think many people would describe you as terrific as a player. You are a much better person, and that's saying a lot.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Yeah, I think it's a great thing what the Reign's doing with this award and trying to honor women in the community. And I think I was proud that they mentioned that in my bio with my upbringing and my parents really kind of instilling in us kids, just to give back to the community and trying to find that in my own way. Obviously, my parents have taken in over 100 foster newborn babies. And, in my career, I can't really do that. I'm amazed with my own babies, like how my mom has been able to do that. But, just to be an inspiration to other girls to kind of pursue their dreams and achieve their dreams. And I was glad that in the last couple seasons that my daughter Kaylee got to see such strong women pursuing their own dreams, and really proud of that.
Kaylee and Grace are going to be keeping you busy for a while. What about soccer in the future for you? Do you want to get involved in the sport once again, maybe as a coach or front office, anything along those lines, or you just want to think about that a little bit down the road?
No, I think, last season I knew that we kind of wanted to grow our family, and retirement was definitely, knew that was going to be my last season, and so thought about coaching, and what a great environment to learn from another coach, to really watch Laura and how she interacts with the players on and off the field. Just an incredible amount of trust that the players have in her and how they want to fight for her and just follow her. And so last season, I came back from Houston and actually started my first season. I was a co-head coach for the high school team in Gig Harbor, and we won our league and did okay in the playoffs and stuff. And so that was a new journey, a new experience for me, and want to continue to pursue that as a coach at that level.
Well, we wish you the best with that. We wish you the best with Kaylee and Grace. Have a lot of fun with that. I know it's going to be a great time. And anytime you are here in this stadium, you are welcome here with us. It's always a pleasure to see you, and it was a real joy watching you play for the Reign.
Okay, go Reign. Let's see a good second half. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Stephanie Cox, a Seattle Reign FC legend, good enough to join us here at halftime. We are scoreless. Second half coming up. Seattle and FC Kansas City.
He's got speed, Mellis. That's a great early ball.
Matthias unable trouble, and quickly here come two more defenders right at Little.
Fans, no substitutions as we enter the second half. And soccer fans, let's get ready for the kickoff of the second half of Seattle Reign Soccer.
Well, we were strapped with only 2 headsets. Peekaboo, I'm back. How'd it go?
It went well.
Good.
Second half underway here in Seattle, scoreless between FC Kansas City and the Seattle Reign. And again, our many thanks to Stephanie Cox, one of 2 recipients of the Seattle Reign FC Legend Award, and I'm sitting next to the other one. That's pretty good company for the 2 of you to be in. Very
I'm
small
honored to be
elite
in her
club.
company, I'll tell you. I think the whole Legends campaign is a great thing that the Predmores and the Seattle Reign are doing, and along with Chihuly, and it's, an honor is an overstatement. But anyway, I missed Steph's interview. I'm going to have to go listen to it, Tom, and hopefully, and I'm assuming you did a great job. But peekaboo, I'm back. We're limited to 2 headsets here today, so
good to have you back. Well, look, we had a first half that featured a whopping total of 1 shot on goal.
Yeah, I was just actually talking to Steph as she was leaving the interview table about that, and how both teams, aren't really stretching each other too much. It's a little bit stagnant, and they both just play so compact defensively. And she talked a little bit, too, about the Ellie Reed-Carson Pickett relationship on the other side. Carson's new. Ellie isn't, she's a little bit out of position playing up on the left wing, and they haven't really threatened too much or gotten behind on that side. So it'll be, I think, fun to watch to see who makes the adjustments here.
Neither club making any substitutions at halftime. And ball sent in up into the wind. And Solo tracks it down. That was Brittany Taylor. So based on what Laura Harvey had to say right at the end of the first half, what should we be looking for in these early stages of the second half for Seattle? Onside, a big threat here, driving in. Goal! Or side net, side net.
She's going to want that one back.
Manon Mellis. It was that close.
And there you see the breakaway pace of Manon Mellis, and that was something we can't tell what surface of her foot she hit that with. I'll have to see that again on the replay, hopefully, but
here's another look at it. Is just wide to the right.
Credit to Barney. I think Barney did a good job of cutting down the angle, but putting that up in the air like that, I think she's still, with the space she had in front of her, is going to want that one back.
Frisbee tracking it down. Over to Sauerbrunn. Becky with a nice ball up ahead to Timrack. And she turns it over to the Reign. Kim Little getting harassed from behind by Buskowski. Room for Keelan Winters. Matthias to her left. Ball played in. Nice ball. Matthias. And a corner kick coming up for Seattle. Little coming over to take it. Lauren Barnes will be a short corner option.
Early in the second half, it'd be a great time for Seattle to bury one of these.
Far post. And last touched by one of the Reign players. So a goal kick for Nicole Barnhart. Just a little kicking back and forth between Averbush and Barnhart and Sauerbrunn. Buskowski getting it back. There's Little. And Little grabbed that time by Brittany Taylor, who draws the foul.
Yep.
No yellows in this match. Of course, there were 2 last week for Shea Groom of Kansas City against Portland.
And Desiree Scott's been a little quiet since I predicted.
She heeded your warning, Coach.
Yeah.
In some psychic way.
It'll be interesting to see if the referee's memory is good come second half.
Good job that time coming out of the pack for Kansas City, but the ball turned over by Gladish. Haverbush with a head to it. Throw in for Seattle. Maybe some of the tweaks you think Coach Andonovski had for his club at halftime, what he maybe would like to see a little bit better out of his squad.
You know, they've had some opportunities. They had that little flurry in the first half, and again, it's just a little bit of a chess match. I don't think their adjustments are much different than the ones I'd make for Seattle. A little bit more mobility. Can you find a way to combine centrally, spread the team out a little bit, and maybe get Heyo in wide for an early service behind the back line? But the back line has done a good job of dropping and squeezing the space. They haven't left a ton of space very often, so it really is just going to come down to which team can effectively break down the other team's defense. And I think that happens with short, sharp passing in from one side out to the other to get behind their back line.
Barnes plays it out, allowing Seattle to reset the defense. And goal kick, Seattle.
I know it's windy up where we're sitting, but I bet it's a little warmer down on the field. When you're out in the sun down there, I think it's hotter than you and I can tell up here in the wind tunnel we're sitting in.
I was talking with Kim Little about that before the match. We bumped into each other outside the stadium, just talking about what a glorious day it is in Seattle. I said, yeah, at least it's not going to be too warm tomorrow, 10 degrees warmer, about 85 degrees, but nevertheless, seasonally for Seattle, this is a warmer than usual day, although we've had.
Is Kim saying this isn't standard Scottish weather?
It is not standard Scottish weather or Seattle standard weather for this time of year. Although we've had a couple of days in the 80s in April, so. Yanez, and Scott takes it away. It's a really good job of using her body to shield the opposing player. Here's Taylor. O'Reilly. What a remarkable resume for Heather O'Reilly out of North Carolina. She tries to chase that ball down. Barnes is going to play it out to Carson Pickett. 3 Olympic gold medals, 2 NCAA championships, World Cup victory, of course, up in Canada. That's pretty much a complete
one of Carolina's finest in a long line of very great players out of the University of North Carolina.
Kendall Fletcher with a pass to no teammate in particular, and Scott easily secures possession for Kansas City.
Becky just studying the field a little bit. That's 2 skillful center backs you have in that pair. But again, Yale there opting for the longer ball, just a little bit of impatience. If you look, if there's quicker movement at the ball at the back, I think they'll be able to get past. This is for both teams. Either team's midfield line, if they can just find those little seams in between to get half turn, facing forward, and then play off their forwards. But nobody seems to be looking for that ball, and nor are they really finding that space in there. And I do think there is space in there to play. Just too impatient.
And I would imagine one of the challenges is the deeper you get into the match, the more difficult it is to remain patient.
Yeah,
so
remain
you're kind
patient.
of fighting that a little bit.
And to find your mobility as you're fatiguing a little bit.
Taylor gets ahead on it.
Seattle bench up for a little warm-up. It's going to be interesting to see who stays warming up and if they do end up making a change of any kind. Desiree Scott battling there. Ellie Reed.
The easiest call that Greg Dopka has had today as Reed gets the foul on Scott.
A little hand holding, just getting friendly in the midfield. I know they're not the home team, but Boy,
that first touch looked a little hard at first, but here's Mara Matthias Barnhart coming out. Matthias able to keep it in. And now the cross. And by Frisbee.
Barney did a good job of coming out
Little.
there. Great
Kim Little.
Kim.
Goal! Seattle!
And that's what Kim does. Nicole Barnhart makes a great play on the first ball to come out and force Matthias out wide. Seattle keeps the ball alive, and there you see just a little bit of magic. And when I say a little bit of magic, I mean from our very own Kim Little. Just quick little touch, outstanding strike, leaves Nicole Barnhart standing still.
It's interesting because we talked so much about patience in this match, and yet I don't know if there's anybody in this league that's more patient in the box with a scoring opportunity at hand than Kim Little. Really plays with a lot of composure.
Yeah, and that's what makes her special. She can wiggle out of things in the midfield and in a crowd like no other, but what makes her special is in and around the box, that exact thing you're talking about, Tom, which is her composure on the ball, her awareness of what her defenders are doing, and then how cleanly she struck that ball into the side netting. It's beautiful.
Goal coming in the 56th minute. Finally the breakthrough Seattle was looking for, and no surprise it would come from a former league MVP and reigning league player of the week.
Sometimes it takes that one goal to get the team fired up, and you already see a little bit more of a skip in the step of the Seattle Reign.
There's oftentimes those first 5 minutes after you score is when you can be most vulnerable to the opposition responding. We'll see what Kansas City might be able to put together. Sauerbrunn.
I recall that happening in the first home match, I think. Is that right?
I believe we did.
I have a good story to tell. Here we go. Here's a dead ball. And I know they're not the home team, but I think this is just how soccer is and why it's so great. My associate head coach at the University of Washington and last year's commentator, Amy Griffin, coaches the deaf women's national team. And they're getting ready for their World Cup in Italy this summer. They're entirely self-funded. The players pay for themselves, and Amy's position is voluntary. And I tell this story because they just got back, because it's a central location, from a camp. They're second of only 2 camps that they get before the World Cup this summer in Kansas. And they were able to spend all day Friday with FC Kansas City. And the graciousness of the players on this team and Coach Andonovsky to send the deaf team off to the World Cup with some confidence and pride, and the amount of time they spent with them. Lauren Holiday came in and spoke with them, and I think also made a donation to the team to help them with their trip. And Amy couldn't be, more happy and more pleased with their time spent with them. She was just in disbelief at how great they were and how hospitable they were with their team. They trained side by side and just spent a great deal of time with them and really inspired the players on the deaf national team. So thanks to Coach Andonovsky and his team.
Hopefully they'll have great success at the World Cup. Barnes off the corner. Yanez could not get ahead on it.
Of course, he thinks she might have taken a little bit of a push there. I always think at the far post when a ball gets sent like that, you saw Bev backing up a little bit. That's typically not the person that's going to win it. You need somebody coming forward on that ball and maybe just peeling that run out a little bit or getting out of the way of the person on the back post. But that was a decent ball. Could have been a lot more dangerous.
Yanez, Reed, splitting 2 defenders. Matthias, though,
Just
offside.
off.
But good recognition, good execution on the pass by Ellie Reed. Reed coming into the starting lineup this week is a replacement to Jess Fishlock, who unfortunately last week injured, fractured left tibia, and she'll be out 4 to 6 weeks.
Big loss for the Reign, but this team is deep and they're well coached and they'll find a way. Injuries are part of it, and sometimes they come in rashes and sometimes you're fortunate not to have any.
And Jess, I believe, out of town receiving treatment. Megan Rapinoe on the Reign bench as she comes back from her ACL injury, and again Matthias offside.
Yeah, but Laura talked about at halftime. I do think they're trying to wear out their back line a little bit with more direct balls. It's intentional. I don't think it's necessarily the the forte of the Reign. I mean, as I said before, you haven't seen Keelan Winters on the ball very much. Kim hasn't really been on the ball in the midfield that much. And I think they're just trying to stretch them through the speed of Matthias, the speed of Mellis, and
so a combination of that speed and maybe what they see defensively from Kansas City, they think that's
pushing their outside backs up high and just threatening them more. Here's one of the substitutions that I thought might happen in this game. I don't know who she's going in for, but it looks like Lindsay Elston, who turned 24 yesterday, former Husky, local product out of the University of Washington and East Lake High School.
Matthias, the shot.
May see her come into the midfield position.
And a substitution, the first one for Kansas City. Francis Silva will be coming on. You get another look at that shot by Matthias.
Going out, number 23,
Caroline Castor
and entering the match,
out.
number 11,
And
Francis
Silva on.
In the 61st
Silva with
minute.
one start. 90 minutes of playing time this season. And again offside. Well, don't miss a moment of the action this season. Tickets for all 2016 Reign FC home matches are on sale now at reignfc.com.
You've seen it a couple times with the Reign, and there you just saw it with Kansas City as well. Is that direct ball, both back lines are starting to catch on to it a little bit, and they're noticing when there's no pressure on the ball, they're stepping a little bit, and we've had a couple of offside calls. So the timing of the forwards, those straight runs aren't probably going to be on. You're going to have to angle your run a little bit and then cut at the last minute to hold your onside space.
Lauren Barnes a little off target with that drop back to Solo. Made Hope put a little more effort in, I think, maybe than she was planning on. Little, Kendall Fletcher playing it ahead, looking for Mara Matthias. And Sauerbrunn tracking it down for Kansas City. Up to Taylor. And taken away nicely by Yanez.
That ball had to go into Kim there. She did all that hard work and had
Yeah.
Kim and Keelan cleared out the space for her really well. It was a perfect opportunity to switch it out and get numbers going forward. But a great piece of skill there by Bev.
Of course, he goes out wide to Fletcher. And space for Mellis.
And right now,
Jess could not get her foot on the ball the first time. And no whistle on that play as Mellis shaken up a bit. There may have been some knee-to-knee contact. And she is still on the deck.
I think her heart rate monitor and strap have fallen off. There's carnage. Snowboarding, you call that a yard sale right there, and no call. That definitely looked like a Charlie. I think Yale hit her mid thigh there with.
Good aggressive defense by Little in the box against Silva. Buskowski. Silva, now Taylor. Haverbush sizing things up. Takes the safe route to Sauerbrunn. Frisbee, ball taken away by Keelan Winters. Desiree Scott getting in there and trying to move ahead to Heather O'Reilly. Seattle will switch the field. Yanez, three defenders around her and finds some room. Nice ball forward to Carson Pickett. 3-on-3 break.
This is good numbers in the front half of the field. This is where Seattle can be patient. Possess it here, move them around a little bit, find that seam and find that final pass to put you in on goal. They don't have to force this here. Movement off the ball could still be a little bit better. People getting into tiny windows with just small movements to open themselves up would help Seattle in possession.
And a bad pass by Lauren Barnes right there. An easy takeaway for Kansas City. Here's Silva.
Still good numbers in the front half. Seattle's got to keep them and lock them here.
Good defense by Ellie Reed. And Pickett takes it away. Well done by the rookie. And a
outstanding
nice
ball by Pickett. This is the one that can be really dangerous for the Reign.
Little getting it back. Kim Little!
That's unfortunate, but that's Reign soccer to me. Front half possession, 1 and 2 touch passes, combinations to get your special players in on goal right off the post. Barney looks to be a little
very nice
nicked
threading
up
of the needle. I thought that was off the post. It was actually off of Barnhart. Nice save by Nicole Barnhart. Little to take the corner. Kendall Fletcher gets ahead on it. Winners, Corsi, and laid out Pickett.
Good job by Pickett to seal it, keep it alive. Again, great numbers in the front half of the field.
This little stretch of play over the last few moments by Carson Pickett.
First substitution will be Lindsay Elston.
Played 19 minutes at Boston last week. Laura Harvey liked what she saw from Lindsay, who will be getting presumably more time than that today. Also another substitution getting ready to come on for Kansas City as Kendall Fletcher is coming off to a very nice ovation.
Ellie Reed switches out to the right back spot.
Substitution for your Seattle Reign FC in the 68th minute. Coming out of the match, number 13, Kendall Fletcher. And coming in for your Seattle Reign FC, number 6, Lindsay Elston.
Offhand, and you don't have to give me the precise number if you don't have it. How many of your former players are playing professional soccer? Not necessarily just in the NWSL, but
we've had 8 or 9. We have their jerseys up near our team room. I have a nice collection going. Lindsay's one of them. She first year in the league went and played for the Houston Dash, took an injury and ended up being let go. Like many of these young players, thought about whether her career would continue or not, and found herself in France. She went and played at FC Metz last year. And this year was invited to come back and go play with Houston again, and instead decided to stay home and became a trialist for the Reign. And Laura liked what she saw and has earned her way into quite a role here.
O'Reilly. And Solo doing a very nice job cutting off the angle of her national team teammate Heather O'Reilly. Lindsay Elston, not only a local product in terms of her connection with Leslie at the University of Washington, but out of Eastlake High School in Sammamish, just about 20 miles east of Seattle. Very solid high school soccer program in the state of Washington.
Sun is in play here. It's not as windy right now. The flags aren't blowing as stiffly, but the sun's definitely in play. That's a dangerous ball played in to a big crowd of players. Well cleared.
There's a nice corner by Amanda Frisbee. Laddish. Left-footed shot, and nearly able to get on the end of that was Silva. And we have an injured Reign player. A left-footed strike.
Swedish is the official medical services
she came over on her ankle a little bit.
Swedish is committed to improving the health and well-being of each person it serves.
Ellie Reed down. You look at that from another angle. It was.
She might have rolled over the top of it a little bit.
Right there.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if not for that pressure, it didn't feel good on Silva's ankle either. If not for that pressure, that was well broken up by Ellie Reed.
Yeah. I tell you, it was interesting in looking at Jess Fishlock's injury last week, the way she was rolled up on, and it was just one of those plays where two players come together. You immediately, based on her reaction, you were thinking ACL, MCL, something of that nature. So you will almost always take the fractured tibia over ligament damage. As you see Ellie Reed to her feet. Nice crowd here today in Seattle, 4,083. So both home crowds this season over the 4,000 mark. In the 71st minute, in Seattle with a 1-0 advantage, Kim Little with the goal in the 56th minute, her second goal this season. She has scored in back-to-back weeks.
There's Hope and Hayo playing a little cat and mouse. Kansas City pressing, trying to lock Seattle into their half and doing a fine job of it. Turnover there by Mellis.
O'Reilly.
Oh.
Tripped up from behind. Was that in the box or just outside? Ruled just outside. And another Seattle player down. It's Mellis, who's shaken up.
It's been a lot of just not nasty, but awkward challenges today. That one, I think maybe she's holding her ankle, hoping for no free kick right there. I'm not positive. But that does look to be another ankle.
Swedish is the official medical services provider for Reign
looks like
FC.
she's about to come back on.
Swedish is committed to improving the health and well-being
Ellie Reed is.
It serves.
And you can see the foul clearly outside of the 18. We're at a little difficult angle, more the opposite end of the stadium. So that was the definitive angle on that foul. But a very good opportunity here coming up for FC Kansas City.
Ellie Reed is good things come in small packages and tough things come in small packages. She plays bigger than her size. She is a durable, tough soccer player. I've had I was going to say honors. I think horror is a better word of having to compete against her while she was at the University of Portland. So happy that she's on a team I cheer for now in Seattle. But she just, she takes a lot of hits and a lot of knocks, but she always comes back.
Mamnan Mellis, all-time leading scorer in international play for the Netherlands, 55 international goals. It was her Dutch squad that knocked Scotland, which featured Kim Little and Rachel Corsi, out of the final European spot for the World Cup. So denied a trip to Canada. Of course, we know how that played out. So Mellis will limp off the field. We'll see if she'll be able to return. Seattle down a player. And an opportunity here for FC Kansas City they would love to tap into. Again, sun may be a bit of an issue for Hope Solo in goal. Averbush on the ball. Shot on goal. Into the side of the net. Bullet dodged by the rain in the 74th minute.
Yeah, this game is far from over. Again, the rivalry between these two continues. Two great clubs going toe-to-toe today. We talked about it being a little bit of a chess match. Neither team overly clean in possession. Part of that having to do with how compact and how crowded it is out there, and both teams playing good defense.
And Kirsten Dalstree coming on for Seattle. And that'll be
substitution for
Manon Mellis. So Mellis's day is over.
In the 75th minute, departing the game is number 14, Manon Mellis, and entering number 25, Kirsten Dalstree.
Kirsten's played a total of 26 minutes to the first two games, but a player that'll bring instant energy onto this pitch.
Energy, a little bite, speed. She works hard.
Real favorite of her teammates. Come out to training and see them work. As she wears her emotions on her sleeves.
I'm not sure what a mini shout-out consists of.
A mini shout-out?
Yeah, I'm supposed to give a mini shout-out to
Give a full
someone.
shout-out. You have my
then
permission.
I'll give a full shout-out to Rose Lavelle and Carrie Riccaro. two youth players that I've had the opportunity to be around and coach, and one's enjoying her. She's coming off an injury, but in her first pro season. The other's leading up to her senior year at Wisconsin, but happy to have listening fans out there. So Tom allowed me to give a full shout out to you two.
Full shout out beats the mini every time. Reed didn't get a very good touch on that ball. She was trying to get ahead to Corsi.
Fans, come on down to the BECU fan zone following tonight's game for a chance to get an autograph
Lindsay
from your
Elston,
favorite
she was
player.
trying to connect
the
with.
BECU fan
Foul
zone
against
is
Kansas
located
City.
on the north
Here's where I'd like to see the Rain just
on
put the
the
ball
east
down,
concourse
try to
level.
connect through
Again,
Keelan or the back
that's the
line.
BECU
Again, good
fan
numbers in the
zone
front half. I
following
don't think they've
tonight's
got to go
match.
long on this ball. And as sure as I say that, she's going to whack one, and we're going to head it in for a goal. So let's watch.
Bush getting ahead on it. Dalstree to Yanez.
Good to win the second ball, and again, keep it here and be patient. The Rain are good at building in the front half of the field.
Pickett targeting Corsi. Here's Yanez. Overlap by Matthias.
Good quick ball movement, great numbers in the front half. Need to get it off the side.
Dalstree. Matthias just a little too
little
too
stiff.
much oomph on that for Matthias to handle, or anyone for that matter. Good stretch of possession here for Seattle as Little plays it back to Corsi. Winners now. In the 78th minute, Seattle with the 1-0 advantage on the Kim Little goal here in the second half.
I've mentioned it a couple times. I just haven't seen Keelan Winters. She's done a lot of defensive work, but she just hasn't been on the ball as much.
Yanez.
She could help with switching the point. Be patient and probe here. Keep moving to get into spaces in between. Finding feet, picking that time to penetrate. It's good movement by Kim there.
How much of this possession is Seattle executing versus possibly a little fatigue on the part of FC Kansas City?
Well, I think it is a little bit of that, but this part of the field is where Seattle wants to play. It's where they're their best.
And played out by Taylor. Throw in for Seattle. And if anything, that gives KC a bit of a breather to regroup. Matthias taken away by Averbush. Sauerbrunn up high. Heather O'Reilly still has plenty of fuel in the tank. Corsi on the switch. Too much on that. Throw in coming up for Kansas City.
Oof.
Big collision there, and that's going to be a foul on Corsi.
Yeah, it's hard not to call that the way it ended up. I mean, she went up and kind of threw her. I don't think he had a choice. She's questioning it right now for that very reason. She thinks I played the ball and she was stationary. She got in my way. And this is a dangerous part of the field right here.
Another set piece.
It's not coming from the sun side, so I don't think Hope's affected by that, but.
And headed out by Elston. Nicely done by the former Husky.
Lindsay did well there to get her head on that and clear it out, and one to track between herself and their attacking player. She got into a really good position there. Pretty sure after the injury, we saw Ellie Reed's not too up for getting kicked. Merritt Matthias looks a little hobbled.
She is limping, not sure if she's being told by her coaches to go down.
With a 1-0 lead, nobody wants to play with 10 if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Which was the next thing I was going to mention, Tom, is just the Rain have to be very cognizant of the time in the game and the score. At 80 minutes and you're up 1-0, how much risk do you take going forward? How much do you, where do you, how do you, how many people do you throw forward? Do you press too many people up front? I mean, if you could possess the ball in the front half, that's ideal for them. Get a second goal is the best thing. You don't want to just,
Substitution for
as American football players would say, play prevent defense. That doesn't typically work out well, but you do have to be cognizant of it. Play with some intelligence.
Matthias waving to the crowd as she comes off, and Michelle Cruz coming on, number 21. So fresh legs for Seattle.
Also fans, the Seattle Reign FC.
She's been a little bit like Ellie Reed. She's played in the 7 or the 11, the wide positions up front, and the 2 or the 3, the wide positions at the back. She's versatile that way.
You can see Heather O'Reilly trying to shield the sun on that.
Yeah, it's brutal, and it's getting lower and lower, and it's basically just getting to about eye level. There's some trees on the west end of the field here that will come into play and hopefully block out some of it, but this time of day.
Winners. Yanez looking for Elston. Haverbush. And Yanez for Seattle. Trying to create some room, takes it into the corner. She'll try to just burn a little time now.
This is where they want to have the ball. They've got to be very careful not to get countered.
Laddish. Out wide to Frisbee. Good to see her healthy. I know it was a frustrating rookie season in Seattle back in 14. A significant muscle pull, upper leg, groin area, and spent a lot of time on a stationary bike here in Seattle, but no time on the field. Taylor, the end of the 18. And Little will come out with it.
He talked about Kim Little's composure in front of net and the other 18. Well, she's pretty composed in this 18 too. There's a lot of players right there that don't hold it together as much as she just did.
Haverbush a little strong, right to Winters.
Tim, right?
Here's Cruz.
That's a well-timed ball there.
Dalstree, she is onside. Good recovery defensively that time by Taylor. Yanez could have done better with that cross. '84th minute. Seattle with a 1-0 advantage on the Little goal in the second half. Dalstree, Yanez.
Good numbers in the front half, good spacing here. They just move the ball around quickly.
And Yanez fouled.
Dangerous spot for a free kick coming up for Seattle.
Laddish taking her down. Take another look at it. And that a result of the terrific skills on the ball by Beverly Yanez. We'll see if Little tries to go for something inside the 18 or maybe just plays it back, and the Reign will be content for a little bit of possession here to continue to work on that clock. And Horsey was the target.
Out for a goal kick.
Frisbee up ahead. O'Reilly trying to make a run onto the ball, played back to Solo.
I didn't think Hope would take 2 touches there. It surprised me a little bit with the pressure that she was under. Did well to, especially looking into the sun, to put that clear.
Laddish. You mentioned Hope was was terrific forward in high school. Did the goalie experience come with her club team, or did she convert when she arrived at UW?
ODP mostly is where they put her in goal, and that's where most college coaches started to see her, and then on the regional team, and then the youth national team, and she kept trying to convince people it's not where she played.
I want to score.
Yeah, she was too good for her own good, she found out. She grew into the position, though, and obviously has learned to love it, and has more than made the most of it.
Throw in coming up.
Mandy Laddish has been, we haven't really talked about her much, but Mandy Laddish has been really active for FC Kansas City today. She's been on the ball quite a bit. She's been, she's really connected her passes and not necessarily been a threat that much, but she's really kept possession for their team quite well and been an integral player for them. And
Jen Buskowski coming off
for FC
Kansas City is Alex Arlit comes on.
6, Jen Buskowski, and in is number 5, Alex Arlit.
I think FC Kansas City substitution maybe saw a little bit of fatigue. Seattle has had a little bit of run of play. They don't want to give up a second. They want to give themselves a chance of getting the equalizer.
Arlit, the
perhaps
defender.
Be the tactics through that.
Arlit making her season debut. Elston, nice ball that time to Lauren Barnes. And Barnes cutting it back. And she'll take it into the corner.
The sun is on the clock here. It looks like 86. I can't tell if it's 86
minute.
or 88. Yep, so 87th minute. Seattle happy not to cross it. That's intelligent by Lou Barnes. If they could just keep it and possess it in this half of the field, seal anything that might be a counter and not let them out, they can run this game out and get away with the 3 points.
Yanez strong on that touch. Here's O'Reilly. Haverbush. Cruz, Little. And as much as you can get Kim Little on the ball in these closing few minutes, the better you increase your chances of really doing some damage on this clock.
There's no doubt about that, Tom.
Here's Scott. Taylor looking for Silva.
Going direct now.
Yanez. A lot of room for Seattle. Numbers advantage 4-on-3.
See if Lindsay can hold it down in the corner and kill the clock for Seattle. My guess is Laura's yelling at her an ill-advised cross a little bit.
'89th minute. Here's Little on the ball. Throw in for Seattle.
This should just about do it. Kansas City's hope is to either have the ball end up in Nicole Barnhart's hands for a long distribution or a big clearance on winning this throw-in. Seattle's going to work hard down in this corner to try to keep it.
Into the 90th minute. Haverbush ahead, O'Reilly. Throw in Kansas City. And you can see a stalling tactic right there.
Yeah, she's
right there.
She's going to get carded for that, which adds extra time to the game.
And Heather O'Reilly frustrated.
Oh, not carded. A talking to, as they say.
Ellie Reed. And a Seattle throw in. And a miss hit by Reed, although it does the job in terms of working a little clock. But again, possession, Seattle's best friend right now.
Yeah, I didn't see a ton from Erica Timrak today. She's one of their craftier players.
O'Reilly Averbush blocked by Little. And Kim Little known so much for her offense, and rightfully so, making a very big defensive play right there.
She's just a smart footballer. She gets herself into positions that are what the game demands. She knows where she's supposed to be when and what her role is, and performs them to a T typically.
Cleared out by the rain.
A little bit of craft by Laddish there.
Pickett getting ahead on it. Silva. Shot deflected. And here's Cruz. Sends it right to Barnhart. I did not pick up the added time. I think it was 3 minutes. It is 3 minutes added time, so approximately 2 minutes remaining in the match.
Seattle's got to do a good job of running the clock out here, a little bit better than that. That long ball by Cruz needed to go way to the corner. She could have carried it forward a little bit longer.
So plenty of time still for Kansas City to get the equalizer. Little. And she tries to target.
That's where the ball needs to go.
Yep.
Get Nicole Barnhart out of her goal. Put her in a throw-in position. Quick pressure on the ball to make sure there's no forward service. It helps when the other team throws it back to you.
Well, Little did not realize.
Kim was surprised.
Had her pocket picked that time by Kansas City. Solo will just have ball roll for a couple extra seconds.
Well, this will be a great 3 points for the Reign. Was a little bit of a chess match today. Followed by Little Magic.
Dalstree, and that's offside. And Elston, she may get a booking here for kicking that ball out of play. First yellow card today goes to the former Husky.
It's a belated birthday gift, the card.
There you go.
She turned 24 yesterday. Happy birthday, Lindsay. Here's your card from the official.
Look at you, glass half full.
Your attention, please.
Barnhart up ahead.
Yellow card has been issued to number 6, Lindsay Elston, in stoppage time.
Approximately 30 seconds
Not
remaining in the match.
Not out of danger yet.
Horsey up ahead. Frisbee. Here's Little.
She's just silly.
Yeah, I mean.
She's so fun to watch. Just little things like that. All kids that are trying to develop their game.
Take it to Elston.
Need to understand
and
what that
that's
kind
it.
of foot skill does for you as a player. Great
Greg
win by the
Copton
Reign.
Blows his whistle. And back-to-back victories for the Seattle Reign. A 1-0 victory this afternoon. And for the two-time defending league champions, FC Kansas City, they remain winless on the season. I have a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, that our play and player of this match are all wrapped up into one. The goal by Kim Little in the second half, the difference in this match.
Absolutely. Player of the match for several reasons. I'd say in addition to the goal, the defensive work she did there at the end to calm the team down and keep them out of danger. But obviously, the bit of magic she showed to beat her defender at the top of the box and finish it with a tremendous strike at the far post that just left Nicole Barnhart motionless. And smash. Boom. Vintage Kim Little.
And there are certain things that you can coach in this sport. I'm not sure composure in the 18 is one of them. I mean, she does seem to be at a higher level than most in that specific regard, Leslie.
Definitely. And sometimes when you look at these international players, and this isn't a bad, there are plenty of skillful and outstanding American players. But some of the skillful internationals that you watch, they are sometimes, frantic looking for the ball and off the ball, looking and kind of trying to find it, and then they're at their most calm when the ball's at their feet. Some American players tend to be the opposite. It's very calm when the ball's not near them, and they're fine getting into space and looking for it, but they tend to tense up when they get it. So we're always trying to teach kids to be the opposite. Be the calmest and the most composed when you have the ball. And that is time with the ball, that's understanding early in your development that that's a piece of your game that really deserves the most of your time when you're younger.
Her boots are off, but her day's not over as Kim Little joins us. Kim, if you can hear us, a little thumbs up, and we'll fire a few questions your direction. And we'll see if Kim can hear us. Kim, if you can, your thoughts on the match. Take us through that goal you had in the second half, 56th minute.
Yeah, I think today we played off really good shape and we're defensively very strong, and I think scoring the goal at that time in the match just after half-time helped us a lot.
What did Laura say to you at halftime? What were some of the things that she was trying to express after kind of a chess match in the first half between the two teams?
Yeah, I think it was, to still do the same things in the second half, it maybe be a bit more clinical and have a little bit more positivity going forward, and I think we did that in the second half and created several chances, which could have been more.
One of the things we talk about, Kim, is even after the goal, is as the game was winding down, you're never really out of danger playing against Kansas City, is the work you did defensively and just kind of calming the team down and trying to, keep the ball out of the back of your own net. Did you drop back into good spaces and put yourself where you needed to be? Is that something you guys talk about as a team too, is how to run out of clock when you're up 1-0?
Sorry, I couldn't hear a word you're saying there.
Yeah, all I was going to say is, how are you enjoying the Scottish weather?
Yeah, it's a little bit warm. I'm sure it's going to get warmer, so I need to get used to it.
Perfect. Don't forget your sunscreen.
Yeah, it's on already.
Well, Kim, thanks so much. Congratulations scoring in back-to-back weeks, and I know for you, more importantly, back-to-back wins for this club. 6 points after the loss to Sky Blue, so nice bounce back for you and your teammates. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers, Kim.
That's one of the best players in the world, Kim Little. You don't get to see her as much on the international stage as you would like, but when you see her here and see what she does for the squad, what she means, there is no way you can overstate her value to this Reign club.
She's a pleasure to watch. What's going to be interesting now is the defending two-time champs at 0-2-1. They have a good enough squad and they're well coached is how they respond and what that team does down the line. I don't think you've seen the last of Kansas City this season. I think they'll find a way to climb themselves into contention towards the end. I really believe that.
Yeah, Zlatko Andonovski, their head coach, one of our favorites, a really terrific guy to work with in terms of preparation for this match. We thank him for that as FC Kansas City moves forward. They will be at home next Saturday against Houston for the Reign. They'll return to play 1 week from today in Orlando against the Expansion Pride. We'll see how that matchup shakes up. They've had some terrific fan support down in Florida for that brand new team, and that'll kick off.
I got two of my Cal Bears and Alex Moore and Sam Woodeman on that team, and they're wearing purple, but I'm still not going to root for them.
So says one of the all-time greats in Cal history as you look at some of the action from today here at Memorial Stadium.
Weird little
that shot by Averbush. That was maybe the scariest attempt that they had on Hope Solo.
There were a few little flurries in the first half, but there wasn't a ton of danger either way for either goalkeeper. Barney had to come out for the one thing that ended up being the goal, and she forced the play wide. She had another one on the post that she saved later on, but there just wasn't a ton of threat. Both teams defensively just had each other, again, a little bit on lockdown.
And there was the difference maker, and another look at it from Kim Little. Good run on the ball that time by Merritt Mathias. And the celebration, I wonder if after the fact, when you knock off the team that beat you in the previous two championship games, it maybe feels a little bit better than even a 3-0 win at Boston. Even though the point total is the same, you get 3 out of each. It's just nice to be the team.
I think maybe a little bit sweeter, and I know for sure for this team wanting to come home and play better for the fans than they did in the home opener. They were very, very disappointed in their performance in the home opener. So they treated this crowd on a nice sunny day to a real treat, and we'll take more of Kim Little and goals any day.
Leslie, always a pleasure. Leslie Gallimore, the head coach at the University of Washington. The next home match against the Portland Thorns. And that, of course, a terrific rivalry. That'll be May 14th right here at Memorial Stadium. Be sure and check it out because you know those Thorn fans will make that trek on I-5 northbound.
Speaking of rivalries.
You got it. Terrific one. Little in the 56th, the difference. 1-0 Seattle over Kansas City. For Leslie Gallimore, I'm Tom Glasgow. Thanks for joining us.